Hey, this is Danielle. Welcome to I'm Not Gonna Lie.
Yeah, I'm here too.
And Phil. Hi,
Yes.
Phil. Today we talked about Andy, right? Or we talked with Andy.
Yeah, no, it was great. He's like an encyclopedia.
Great. He's the best storyteller. Probably one of the best storytellers here at Keller Street Co-work. I'm super excited to have him.
Isn't that his thing? Storytelling now?
That's his thing.
He quit his day job to be a storyteller.
It's true. We talk all about his story box, among other things like unicorns.
Excuse me?
And, wait, what?
Storybox?
Yeah.
Oh, the booth. Yeah.
The
anyway,
booth.
It's a great episode.
Right. Yeah, great episode. Let's just like throw everybody into the episode and let them take a ride. Cool. All right, Can we get this thing on the road?
Oh.
All right. I just like to hear the music. That's why I want to shut everybody up.
Yeah, there's no fancy talking.
No.
On this one.
I like it.
Okay.
I
Good.
like it.
I'm going to fade out.
All right, good. Fade out. All right, Phil. Hey, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I am so freaking stoked today.
I have been bugging the hell out of me.
Yes, I know, because I've been working on my podcast all freaking week. And like every day I've carved out extra time so that I can
I've noticed.
Do this. And it's starting to become legit. I love it. We have Andy Sewell here today. And I say Sewell because I'm still trying to wrap myself around how to pronounce his last name.
So there's a story behind that.
I want to hear it.
There's two families that have the same last name. Mine was the Mayflower family, and they come over as Sewells on there. They were basically refugees from the UK, or at the time it was just England.
Is that a metaphor of the Mayflower family or the Mayflower?
No, on the boat.
On the boat.
Yeah. And so I lived on the East Coast for a period of time, and I would just...
Whoa. Plymouth Rock, the Mayflower.
Yep.
Okay.
That one.
Same one.
Which, by the way, if you go to Plymouth,
right,
the town of Plymouth, Mass.
Right.
It is totally Disneyfication of the Pilgrim's Landing. So instead of like,
That's awesome.
like all the pestilence and all the horrible things that happen to the Pilgrims, you go there and you can stay at a hotel that has a Mayflower recreational, like a recreation of the Mayflower, but it's a water slide that goes into the pool in the indoor of the Super 8.
I love it.
The Super 8.
Yeah.
I went to Plymouth, England, actually.
Yeah, and that's
which is like not.
It's where they left from.
Yeah.
That's where they left from.
Yeah.
They went. Got it.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, welcome, Andy.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'll tell you, there's 100 reasons why I'm excited that Andy's here today. But the biggest one is that he has been my biggest podcast cheerleader for the last, 3 weeks since we did my mastermind?
Something like that, but I've been listening since the beginning.
He super strokes my ego every day.
Founding listener.
I love it so much. And I've also gotten a lot out of all of the feedback that you've given me.
Good. I'm glad. That's back to you, because that's really what Keller has been for me.
Oh, good.
I have been very successful at staying as I come from a long line of reclusive old weirdos, and I'm kind of like already starting
That's
that.
a shocker to me.
Yeah, like I live in a weird area, and I've noticed that I've only been there for a couple of years. Everybody else has been there for like 30. And I know that I'm going to be somebody who will be there for like 30 years. And some young whippersnapper will come in and say, well, this is what we should do. I'm like, no, that's what,
That'll be the kids' test of bravery. Like, go touch Andy's house and run.
Yeah.
Oh, did you used to do that when you were a kid? Like,
yeah,
or
always
like
weird things.
Go through somebody's corner of their yard and just to see if the old man was going to come up yelling at you?
We had one that was awesome. It was so, have you ever seen the movie Terms of Endearment?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Oh my God. No.
We know this about me.
Okay. So anyway, Terms of Endearment was
it's
filmed.
not E.T.
No,
Jesus.
it's not, but it's sometime. Yeah. So Terms of Endearment was filmed in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I'm from. And there is most of the scenes that take place in Lincoln take place in this neighborhood called Sheridan, which is like a boulevard street, big houses, all that stuff. One of them, the story has like a white stone wall that's just taller than most junior high kids. And the story was you hop over there, and she had this little village built in her backyard because her children were born with some abnormality, various stories of what the abnormalities were. And they ran around, had a little village back there. So we'd always run by and like lift each other up and have to peek over like, oh man, I saw a rooftop. And then you would like, clean.
But did you really see a rooftop, or
No.
people were like,
And everybody would scream and giggle and run.
That's how that works. It's like you just go for it, and then you tell people, because then you become the person who can be the storyteller, who can tell the story. And like, I saw this thing, and then this like,
Yes.
hound of the Baskervilles came running after me, and I ran off and whatever. As far as I know, it was like a Shar-Pei. That's all it really was.
It's Shar-Pei. Do you know, Andy, that this week, because now I'm getting serious about my podcast, and I'm like legitimately researching things and posting things, and I even have a Facebook page now.
Yeah, when's Andy's feedback going to make it into the show?
What do you mean?
All this good feedback.
All the like
I
of
know,
how I should
I'm
do
kidding.
this. You're an asshole.
I know.
I was looking you up on LinkedIn. And I was like, who is, first of all, the picture?
Yeah,
dude,
right.
really?
I know. Well, that's
You
my
look
that's
like
my old
you're,
corporate
like,
one.
20.
I probably and it's funny. I have shaved my beard since I was a teenager exactly twice. The first time
The day before that picture.
yeah, and my ex-wife's grandmother saw me when I shaved it, and she said, "That looks stupid. Never do that again." Her husband,
how kind.
her late husband, had a big Lithuanian beard, kind of similar to what I have now. And then the second time I shaved it, it was for a Halloween party to go as the guy from Breaking Bad. I just decided to shave my whole head and everything. I don't know why. It was, it was
I've
impulsive.
never seen Breaking Bad either.
Wow.
Same reaction from both of you.
That's fine. That's fine. Actually, it's fine. But you get it. Like you've seen Walter White.
Yes,
Like you've
of
seen
course,
the character. So I did that, and then the next day I went to work, and my coworker, who actually lives here in Petaluma, who I'd been working next to and am still close friends with, was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, you're sitting in the wrong seat," and she just didn't recognize me because I look like I'm 12.
Wasn't Heather, was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. A coworker from my old job
Got it.
when I was employed.
When you when you had a corporate gig.
Back when I worked.
So yeah, but anyway, there's nothing outside of your corporate work on that LinkedIn. Like it's all
Correct,
the
because I'm
legal
still kind of
stuff.
doing that.
Like,
Yeah, and actually,
I
if
think
you
we need to work on this.
yes, and if you look up my name, you can confuse me with a very famous kite surfer who's based in Southern California,
Oh, wow.
a stock car racer in Texas. There is a USGS geologist who's based in Georgia. People who run a watch factory in Atlanta, Georgia. Those are actually relations. There is a former band member of a 1980s pop UK band who now runs a bed and breakfast in Essex. A South African-based, beautiful nature photographer, and my second favorite, which is a guy in Washington State, somewhere near Olympia, who paints ducks for hotels. Like if you've ever been to a hotel and there's like inexplicable, like ugly painting, he does these things. They're very serene. My favorite one though is the week that I moved to California, the first time there was somebody with my name who went missing in Moab on a mountain bike trip. He was older. And he was later found. He basically had a heart attack and fell down a canyon. But all of my family in the Midwest just knew that I moved to California, and they're just like, assumed it was me.
Wait, all those people were on LinkedIn or just in
Just
Google?
in the world.
Like,
Oh my
you look
God!
up them.
Google
On LinkedIn, you look like you're 16.
Yeah.
I know, I told you.
No, but I went to look.
It's
Yeah.
adorbs.
Yeah. I was in
It's
swing
adorbs.
choir. I was in performance. That was an important
That
thing to me.
was
And then
your
I just
thing.
stopped. That's why radio is so great. It doesn't
I'm
matter.
very uncomfortable with the boobage
With the what?
happening here today.
Do you need,
Are you
do you need a
uncomfortable?
clip or something?
I just
Sweater?
I'm afraid I'm going to fall out.
All right.
So can you see
think
like I'm
we're
sitting
probably
up
safe.
straighter than normal?
More conscious of it.
What's Pledge the Dredge? You got a pin on your shirt that says Pledge
So
the Dredge.
here in Petaluma, we have a river, which is technically a coastal slough, or tidal slough that runs
Spelled sloth.
Yeah, exactly. GH.
Whatever.
And when you are down in the kind of the turning basin, you'll notice that there's a lot of mud during low tide. And so today, the mayor, Teresa Barrett, and I think Dave King was there, a bunch of other people were all there, are pointing out that the Army Corps of Engineers has not dredged the slough for a long time, which will prevent things like the Santa that comes in on the tugboat can't happen because there's just
no
not enough water.
Santa.
So this year there will be no Santa.
What? Wait,
Sorry.
they can't dredge it
Well,
before
correct
then?
me if I'm wrong, but the Army Corps
Of
right?
engineers.
Yeah, that they were typically dredged every 2 years, and then something changed, right?
So, basically money.
Money,
and
yeah, they
also-
stopped funding it.
If you want to get really technical, this is interesting. Normally, and that's one of the reasons if you go over a bridge that goes over this waterway, it doesn't say Petaluma River, it just says Petaluma
Oh.
because it's not a river. If it were a river, then the Army Corps of Engineers is absolutely responsible for its upkeep.
Oh, but do
Because
you think that was just bullshit though? They put that sign there so they can say that they don't have to dredge it.
No, it's just one of those things where you try to classify something in some sort of agency so that you get certain treatment, and that can backfire because
Yeah.
then now you don't get other treatment, and you can't flip flop between those two. When I lived in Massachusetts, there was a thing that you would do if you really wanted to piss off your community, is instead of selling your home, like I lived on a little farm, instead of selling it, my ex and I could have just given it to the township, and then they turn it into common land, which is like you've heard Boston Commons and you've heard those kind of things. That's what that is that land becomes accessible to anybody who lives within that community, and it could never change its status. Oh. So when I was living there was this guy who used to ride his horse into town up into his 80s or 90s until he couldn't ride it anymore. And he was kind of like the old kook who lived out there in this little farmhouse. And he gave his land, but it split the town. It was like right between two major sections. Major, I mean, the town was like a couple hundred people, but it was like two little pods of the town. And because of that, the middle of it became this open space. And he just like, there you go. You can't do anything. So this organization removes all of the structures and anything that would otherwise not allow it to go fallow. So it removes any non-organic material. What does that mean? Fallow? Leave alone.
So just FYI, he's so much smarter than I am.
Right?
Like that's another reason why I'm intimidated by Andy, because not only is he like audio perfect, like we're like pro. Even like the other night when we were
he's the smartest guy in the room.
He for sure is.
Yeah, no doubt.
So here at Keller Street, we had, sorry, I totally interrupted your story, but I'm going to go with how smart you are. So you should just say thank you.
Thank you.
Crossword show in the lounge. And, remember Dominic? Dominic was on the show, and his, comedy partner, Zach Sherwin, they did the comedy show or the crossword show in the lounge. Andy was there. Heather was there. Heather's also been on the podcast. You're not even fucking listening to me.
No,
are you listening?
It's word with friends.
You motherfucker.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're fired. Get out. No,
Go ahead.
Don't get out because I don't know what to do.
I know. Just push the red button.
Andy and Heather, like, they're so smart. And I'm sitting back there. I can't even do like the Monday crossword. And they're like,
but crosswords for me. So crosswords were something I've done, I don't know, all of my life. My grandfather, my mom's dad, share birthday. August 25th, in case anybody cares, it's coming up. But
his birthday's coming up.
It's also Barton's birthday.
On the same day?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Oh, all my podcast guests have the birthday on the same day.
23rd.
Really?
August.
So there you go. So it's and some of
we're celebrating at Griffo Distillery.
Nice.
Who's we?
Me and friends.
Oh,
yeah.
Am I going to get an invite?
Yeah, you're invited.
Great.
There's your invite.
Yeah, it's a blonde medicine event.
Oh.
A comedy night at Griffo on the 17th.
Yeah. Wait, is it the crossword show or is it a different one?
No, it's just stand-up tour.
Just stand-up tour.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, my grandfather was an artist and a small business owner, and he always carried index cards in his pocket, and he would like draw out little sketches of things. So when I draw, I tend to like use small like post-it notes like you're doing, and then he would do crosswords, and that's how we got.
Oh.
So he would constantly do crosswords, and so I would learn either by like, hey, can you fill these in, and then over time, I'm kind of doing them myself. But it's just it's a way to focus energy, and
I'm just not smart enough. I swear to God, Phil, I'm going to beat you in your face.
I just had to. I said hi to Shane.
Everybody
Shane.
says hi to Shane.
I know. It's like this wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't mention Shane
Yeah.
at least once. The elusive Shane. You're not going to believe this. In all of my like podcast like frenzy, I got Shane on the freaking calendar.
Oh, nice.
He's coming.
It's about time.
Cancel.
I don't remember. Stop saying that.
No, it's just a Shane's thing. I'm totally for it. Like but I think
believe it when
also,
you see it.
There's value.
And it's
kind of
also
like the Kaiser Soze of Keller.
He also, like, I have a couple of members who I've been trying to get on here, and they're like, I'll do it when Shane does it. I'm like, now Shane's on the calendar. So that's just right there is going to like lock in 4 or 5 more guests after
Well, halfway there.
Right?
Halfway.
I got a bunch. I don't know what date he's coming on. I can't remember, but it's there. He better not cancel.
He'll give you a hard time either way. He'll
Fine.
try.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, you guys are going to see really how he treats me. This is why I want him on the podcast. Like, you're going to see how abusive he is to me.
Oh, everybody knows that. That's not.
I know. So now all my listeners are going to know too. I have 100.
They're going to be coming around like,
followers.
"Where's the shirtless guy?" Yeah.
You're going to think this is cute one day when we have a bajillion followers and we're doing this show on the road on stage. When you hear me say, I have 100 Facebook followers.
We can do it at the Phoenix.
Yes. No. Speaking of the Phoenix, they're coming also.
I know.
But let's talk about Andy.
Yes.
Let's talk about Andy. Hey, so I don't know if I told you about this, but Phil, when we had the Yelp event, you need a whipping.
I was going to look at your notes. The Yelp event.
We had the Yelp event here a couple months ago.
I missed
and Andy did the story box for
I missed
us.
it too, actually.
He missed it. He did all the
box?
work for the story box, and then he left town.
Yeah. And then I was
but
on a
we
train.
turned in we used 2
Yep.
of the 3 phone booths that we have in the community kitchen there, and he made them like audio studios basically, and he had prompts for people to walk in there, close the door. It was already recording. It was ready. And you just answered one or two of the prompts that were like